stop signs on gravel roads.
Both Ron and I were approached by an individual in Cedar Township about rethinking and having some discussion about some existing stop signs, and he was of the opinion that it would be safer if some of them are not there. I have some concern about that. So then I had visited with Ron, and he said he would do some investigation on what the process might be, or even what liability might lie with doing something like that.
And I had remembered that there had been some information gathered from the counties about stop signs in a report that Iowa Highway Research Board was doing, and I had not ever seen the final copy of that project. So I got onto the C3 website and printed off a couple things. First one here, just some comments about that study that they sent out in their, it's called their technology news that they send out, and it's just got some comments there about the study. I did print off the copy. There's the report. There's 70. Well, it says 64. There's 64 pages in the report, and I just printed it off yesterday afternoon. I have not had time to read that yet. The other thing that was on their website was this other article about traffic control at very low volume roads, which some of the information might be very similar to what's in the one you're looking at. But
One thing they don't talk about, they're suggesting a path for considering it and what you might do. I guess one of the large things I think for us would be the safety and the safety history, but also liability considerations, and I don't see that mentioned.
well, and I think there might be some, well, like page 53 here says legal liability resulting from the removal of stop signs. Statutory immunity, is this a valid tort action? What else can be done to offer protection? And again, I have not even had time to review those pages in here.
If you get an opportunity, you want to print that off as well, so we can read that.
Just those pages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be concerning.
If there's anything else in there that I see might be of interest to you, I'll print that off too.
Okay.
And the legal, liability is a concern. And maybe Jim knows, somebody had mentioned to me that Sac County had taken out a stop sign years ago when Paul Schwarting was here. And somebody thought there'd been a lawsuit filed after that, but I haven't had time to chase that down either, whether it was actually,
No, not offhand.
whether this guy was confused with something else, I guess I don't know.
Well, there has to be statewide examples that are this wouldn't be the first consideration. It's had to have been done, and there has to be a precedent.
Well, I think that's part of the reason they did the study was try to give counties the tools or a method for taking stop signs out. What's in these two quick little reports don't really give you a whole lot of suggestions. I mean, they give you some suggestions there, but really.
One of his suggestions in the conversation was that some of them had been placed where an existing acreage might have been at an intersection, and now the acreage is gone.
Yeah. Acreage
Which
gone,
is,
trees are gone.
that might apply. But you still have the concern of, it's been there for 50 years and now all of a sudden you remove it, and who's then liable or responsible? And maybe that can be answered.
Yeah. And again,
Does the benefit of removing one stop sign justify all of the time you're gonna spend in that? I mean, it's...
Well, not just necessarily. I'm sure if there's one in that area, there are others, around the county. It's a question that we need to ask, I guess.
I know there's a couple places in Calhoun where the same scenario has been. There's a building site in the corner, and over the years, the buildings got torn down, and the road was gone, but the stop sign's still there. And the main reason is, yeah, it's easy to leave it there rather than take it out, and the liability issue, if you take it out and somebody that's been driving that road for years pulls across that intersection thinking he's got the right of way, and somebody comes from the other direction that always used to stop, hits them, and I'm not sure what the solution is, and I'm not, reading this, I don't know whether they're going to give you any good hard, rules on how to do that, because to me, you're going to have to, when they talk in here, in this short article about giving everybody notice, well, you can give everybody notice, but still, people read it in the paper, unless you, I guess I think if you're going to do it, you have to put additional signing up the other direction saying...
Which then just defeats the purpose. If you're going to maintain signs from two directions, to say that you've taken one out doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation?
I guess until I review this, if they've got some good hard rules that could protect us in the case of a liability lawsuit, I guess, we might be considering it. But if there's not much protection liability-wise, I guess the tendency is going to be to leave them there.
Could they be replaced with yield signs? Most of them, they just slow down for anyhow out there in the country. They don't have to stop. Because they know it's a bad intersection, they slow down and there's nothing coming. They move on.
Over the years, the MUTCD has discouraged the use of yield signs. It seems like for counties. Now, I don't know, I'd have to go back and research that exactly too. I know there's very few counties use yield signs anymore.
Well, and that's, you have that right of way to the right, that's
But yield, and they have to yield the traffic from both
from all directions.
Yeah.
But you just, without one, you have the automatic thought that you yield to the right, but so if you're removing a stop to maintain another sign, you just will leave the stop sign, or even worse if you have to put one from both directions.
Except on the stop sign, you go out there and you watch them, and very few of them that are in the area actually stop. They'll slow way down,
And some
but
don't do that.
they don't. Yeah, sometimes they don't do that, but they don't stop.
But that's,
This would just make them more legal.
in our situation, though, with say you have an existing one from one direction or even two directions, we have no exposure. You need to abide by the posted sign, and
and then there's, I think, just glancing through this report, it looks like there's, some discussion about whether it's safer to have, two-way stops or no stops at all. And again, I haven't looked through that, but it looks like there was some suggestion that the additional stop signs stopping traffic in one direction wasn't necessarily safer than having no stops at all. And that gets back to the idea that if you put too many stop signs out there, then they start disregarding, they know this one really isn't needed, so they disregard that one, and it just turns into disregard for all of them.
well, and then you maintain them all as well.
Yeah. But, there's arguments, when the crop gets tall in the fall, that there should be control on every intersection.